안녕하세요, 여러분. 저는 한국 문화 좋아하는 Nneka입니다. I said hello everyone, I'm Korean culture loving Nneka, and in today's video I'm going to tell you practical ways you can teach yourself Korean for free online. So I do know that many of us have been wanting to learn Korean for different reasons for a very long while, but unfortunately we do not live close to the Korean Cultural Center where we can learn Korean. But not to worry, don't be discouraged. You can still teach yourself Korean online. I've been teaching myself Korean online since 2017, so I'm here to tell you, like I'm telling you now, that it's doable. Yeah. So in my experience, these are practical ways you can teach yourself Korean online. Number one, please start with Hangul. Don't learn Korean with romanization, that is using English letters to learn Korean, because it's going to stump your progress and mess up your pronunciation. Like my Korean pronunciation is clear and natural, right? So it's because I learned Hangul. If you don't learn Hangul, yeah, if you don't start with Hangul, it's going to mess up your pronunciation. Yeah, so please start with Hangul. Hangul is the Korean alphabet, and unless you just want to learn simple phrases like Sheleamida, Hotel Chuchonye Jushike Soyo, or Onurbam Bimbang Nisoyo, like for your tourist travels, you cannot progress in your Korean studies without learning Hangul. Like you cannot actually learn how to read, write, speak and understand Korean without learning Hangul. So I know it seems difficult. Like when you take a look at written Korean text, you might think, oh, it looks like jargon, it looks complicated, it looks difficult. But it's actually not. If you tear apart all the Korean texts that you have been scared of, you will see that there is only 24 Korean letters that you would ever need to learn to speak and to read and write Korean. Like in the whole of Korean language, there is only 24 letters. There are 10 vowels and 14 consonants. English language has 26 and Igbo has 36. So you see why there is nothing to be scared of. So how do you actually learn Hangul? How do you start learning Hangul? So I suggest two websites. One is howtostudykorean.com, and the second one is koreanfromzero.com. These are websites for absolute beginners to learn Korean from. So if you these websites, the howtostudykorean.com, it breaks down the concepts of Korean language and adds some aspects of Korean culture, while koreanfromzero.com teaches beginners from Hangul everything you need to know, and it has a more concise, like it has a textbook, Korean from Zero Book 1, that you can actually download for free, yeah, from this website. Then they have a set pattern, like step by step, the process that you can follow to learn Korean. So how do you memorize Hangul? I usually advise my friends to start by writing down the 10 vowels and the 14 consonants. Like you write them in a line, and then you put the corresponding sounds under them, like this. So these are the 10 basic vowels and these are the 14 basic consonants. So these are the corresponding sounds, aya, oyo, blah blah blah. So when you're done writing them like this, you learn the writing rules, the stacking rules, how these stack up to form syllables or characters that form words. So for example, you want to learn how to write kimchi in Korean, and you already know that it is written kimchi, yeah. So you come here, you look for K here, you write K. You look for I, you write I. You look for M, you write M. Then you look for CH, you write it. You look for I, you write I again. So kimchi, kimchi, kimchi. That is how you write kimchi. So the same thing with other words that you would want to write. So this is a way to help you, get used to Hangul, and you should download a Korean keyboard so that it helps you to stack. You get familiar with the stacking, the way, like how they are stacked, and also watch YouTube videos so that you get the pronunciations, and make sure to repeat after them, because one of the mistakes I made when I was starting out, learning Korean, was that I was not learning pronunciation. So when I started speaking, I was not having confidence at all in speaking. So it took me a very, very long time to be able to start speaking. So don't do that. Make sure to always say the pronunciations out loud. Yeah. Say the pronunciations out loud before as you are learning. Yeah. So after memorizing the Hangul, then you go into Hangul irregularities. Like the next step you should take is learning Hangul irregularities. Yeah. So if you study Hangul irregularities, you just learn that some sounds, there are some little sound changes. Like for example, when you write the sound for M, the sound for A, and the sound for S, instead of it sounding like mass, it sounds like math. So you learn simple rules like this, but you don't have to cram everything at a sitting. You can just learn them once, and then you move on. You get used to them as you're progressing, as you're learning more vocabulary and more grammar. So after learning the Hangul irregularities, the next step I advise you to take is, as I've said, you shouldn't memorize everything. You don't have to cram everything. Yeah. As you're learning more vocabulary and more grammar and encountering more Korean words or instances where these things are where they occur, you'll be able to get used to them. So you don't have to even sit down and cram everything at once. So the next step after that, you learn simple verbs like to be, to exist, to not exist. Then you move to simple grammar patterns like present, past, and future tenses. Then some vocabulary, maybe how to introduce yourself, how to say your age using numbers like from 1 to 20 or from 1 to 100, just as much as you can learn. And remember, this Korean from Zero textbook has these things, like it has it in patterns that you can learn these things. You can learn home vocabulary, you can learn church vocabulary, you can learn school vocabulary. Just make Google your friend. Try different methods, that anyone that works for you. But anything you want to learn, maybe learn vocabulary in groups, home vocabulary, cushion, bed, house, all these things. So make Google your friend, join language learning communities on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, or other social media. Then you can download apps, language exchange apps like Tandem and Hello Talk, where you can meet native Koreans and practice what you're learning with them. And if at any point you have difficulties, you can contact me on social media. I'm always very happy and ready to answer all your questions and make friends with everyone that's learning Korean. So all the best in your Korean studies, and if you want to see more fun videos like this, please subscribe to the channel and like this video and comment your thoughts on this video in the comment box. Enjoy your Korean learning. 안녕히 계세요. Bye.